All right. All right. Okay. So, all right, y'all. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take a look at this picture right here. This is an image of my daughter Brooklyn. It's taken one night while we were together in the garage. She was singing a song, and I was just practicing with my camera. I think at this point I'm shooting with a 50mm lens on the Canon 6D II, and there was something about these images that I was capturing that it really kind of touched me. There's a certain intensity in her look. There's a certain intensity in the lighting. I really at this time kind of fell in love with the one light setup. The one light setup always gives this transition, I want to say, from light to dark, that and adds a gradient to the image that I really enjoy. And it really adds a nice gradient to the image that I really like. I really enjoy. One of the things about the 6D Mark II that it does have it has an issue with dynamic range that everybody always talks about. I notice it a lot. I deal with it a lot, but that's just one of the things you have to deal with as a photographer. Sometimes you don't have the gear that you want. Sometimes the gear that you want has. Let me just rephrase that. The gear that you want, just like anybody that you are like in a relationship with, they have quirks, right? They have certain things about their personality that either you are absolutely in love with or you like absolutely hate, right? These are things that you deal with, but that's kind of a part of their personality, right? And so the 6D Mark II, like any camera, has a personality. It has an essence to it that you just have to deal with. And so that's kind of what I'm finding out with this particular camera. But I love it. You know, the best camera is the one that you have. It's kind of like a routine thing in the shadow. But let me show you. Let's get back into this thing, and I'm going to go through this. That's all theoretical at this point. So let's see where we can start here and bring us up to where we are. All right, this is another rendition of the exact same image that I did a while back. I just kind of played with the shadows. It's very kind of coarse and hardcore. There's my little girl. Yeah, I just kind of get started. All right, so let's see what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another virtual copy, and then in the virtual copy 2, let's see. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to reset. I'm going to reset all of the tones, and I may not this time get the exact same image that I got last time, right? Because I'm not working from a preset. I'm developing a preset. I'm developing my presets the way that I like the way that I like my images to look, the way that I like the colors to look, the way because my images have a certain amount of contrast. I always like to play with the soft shadows, and my earlier stuff was really gritty, really sharp. Now it's more about tonality across the image. So let's see what I'm gonna do with this. Let's see what I'm gonna do with this time. If I actually have the same response, right? So, excuse me. Maybe I didn't shoot this with the 6D Mark II. What did I shoot this with? Maybe I shot this with the Canon 2. Where did I shoot this with? The Canon EOS 6D Mark II. Right. Alright. So I'm right. Okay, here we go. As I always do, I would like to change my colors. Right? Adobe Color is a great color. As you can see, it's great. If I switch over to camera standard, all of a sudden, so much more, a richer tone jumps into the image, right? It seems hotter. It seems more intense. If you go back to camera's color, Adobe Color, this is not cool. It's cooler than the other image, but it's kind of muted. but I want to bring in camera standard as the color profile. We don't know a lot about color profiles. The Adobe Lightroom has so many different color profiles that you can really start with. Adobe Raw settings give it Adobe standard color, portrait, and so there are 7 in the Adobe Raw, 6 in camera matching. Then there are artistic, black and white, modern. This is kind of like, you know, those things that you would see on Instagram or something, like, you know, people just slamming things directly onto your photo after you've been working on it all day and night. And they just take these little filters and just drop them right on top. And then vintage. All right, then vintage. Okay, let's see. Actually, that's pretty high. It's pretty cool. I like that. Nice warm tone. And then this is the last one. These are built in to Lightroom. But that's a good place to start. So what I'm going to start is the camera standard. And then I'm going to close this. And then I'm going to start off with auto. I always start off with auto, and I like to start off with auto because it gives me a good starting place. It gives me, how would I put this? It gives me what the mathematical adjustments would be, right? Okay, it gives me like a foundation. Like, okay, this is what the computer is like. This would be optimal exposure, optimal contrast, optimal highlights, optimal shadows, right? It's according to what was shot, what your system was used, and then what the computer feels like is, what the software rather feels like would be the best exposure, all right? But then it's on me at this point to kind of figure out, is this a part of the story that I'm trying to tell? And if it's not a part of the story that I'm trying to tell, then I'm going to make the adjustment, right? Because that's my job as a photographer. So I'm looking at the exposure. I'm looking at the details that are brought out by having this exposure at 1.97. And I'm going to adjust that, right? Because as I slide up, I see more information in the shadow. I see where the limits of the camera are for this particular shot. I see where grain is added. I see where noise is added. I see where I've lost a lot of detail. Now, the dynamic range for this camera should have added so much more detail into these shadows as I move that slider, but I don't have it. So I'm going to pull the slider all the way back down to like 1.0.97, right? Because this is a moody shot. It started off moody, and there's almost no way we can make this a sunny shot. All right, so the contrast is at -21. I'll bump that all the way back to 0, right? This is where we begin. This is the contrast that the light provided for us straight out of the camera. So I'll begin to slide this back this direction. All right, and it's softening up. It's opening up the shadows, and now I like that. What I like is this angularity of the light, and it comes back this direction, and so that's the gradient I was telling you guys about. Okay, so the shadow of the highlights. So there aren't really any harsh highlights in this image right now. Excuse the noise. I'm gonna make an adjustment to that. There aren't really harsh highlights. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bump these highlights up because this isn't a shadow contrast, but I really want this sort of. I really want this separation to occur based on the highlight that's coming down through this area of the shadow. There's as I'm opening up this shadow, this is the area that I'm paying attention to. All right, so I would like to draw the eye in to those shadow areas, because as the eye goes into the shadow area, then it gives a glow. It shows like depth and dimension and I like that. I like that for this particular image because it's shadowy, but then what it's supposed to do is encourage you to open yourself up to, you know, to what's happening in this photo. All right, so the whites in this image, as I push them up, energize it. I don't like that much. I don't need that much energy. You know, because it makes these harsh highlights in this area. These harsh highlights. I don't want the harsh highlights. I would like the harsh highlights to be a little bit softer and those areas to be very smooth transition. Now, this black slider, when I first started using Lightroom, one of the things I would just drag that black slider down and bump in all of this extra contrast, and I mean, it's just rough. But I found myself now pulling the black slider up a little bit more because it doubles as the shadow slider and the contrast slider. So shadows, contrast, the shadows, and the blacks, when you use them in conjunction, then you can open up the image and allow the details to come through that would not normally come through. So the details are popping through. Now, clarity behaves, blacks, shadows, and contrast. Even exposure, all deal with the values, the light and the dark values, but all in a different way. And you'll see what I mean when I started using the clarity slider. I pull back this way, the image gets soft and kind of blue. But then once I cross over this threshold, there's a certain punchiness that comes in, right? A tightness, almost as if the image just sharpens up in a weird way, which is good for the hair, and it's good for the detail down here in the top, right? This detail is good for this speckled hair, but is that what we were going for this time? Right now, the tension that's in her eyebrow, also with the tightness of these braids, with this intersection of these braids, right? You see these lines crisscross, and then it's almost like tension. So I like that with this clarity, but I'm gonna still pull it back just a little bit. Why? Because I'm also going to use dehaze. Now the dehaze slider, I could go two directions with it. If I go forward, then I'm going to bring in and I used to hate to use the term heaviness. It's kind of going to add weight to the image. It's almost just making a sort of a solid. If I slide it into the negative, then it's going to actually add sort of a bloom to the image. So we're going to go negative. That's the bloom that I'm talking about. What you see is there's a haze that enters the image, and I actually like this. This is pretty cool. If they had this in Photoshop, I could use it. This is almost like a blur. All right. Then once I slide it into the positive, then you'll see this heaviness that I'm talking about. You see what I mean by heaviness? So this is 0. Right at 0, this is what it looks like, right? But then once I slide it forward, then it gets heavy, right? It's almost like if there's the blacks are blacker and darker and they're crushed. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually use this dehaze and slide it back toward haze. Yep. So there's all of this detail through these central areas. I bumped up clarity. Now the vibrance of color almost hasn't made much of a difference. It's just, just the vibrance of this kind of added more color. But I think I want to bring the vibrance back just a little bit and then move the saturation up, because the redness in her forehead and her lips and her skin, that I want to be prominent. So I moved that forward, but then in the grays of her hoodie, and then this it's not necessarily like French gray, but it's kind of a reddish yellow gray. I'm sorry, that color slips my mind right now. I just kind of want that to be muted. So with this entire muted area, I want all of the area where her skin is to be a little more saturated with color. As a matter of fact, I won't do that. What I will do is skip the tone curve for hue, saturation. I'm going to grab this adjustment key, and I'm literally going to drop it right into the red for the shadows and then slide those up. and that gives me the same effect. But then the orange, I'm putting the orange back down, and I just really just want the red to go back. Excuse me. So luminance works similarly because luminance also deals with the values of the color, right? The lights and the darkness. All right. So if I adjust the luminance of this color, then the reds brighten up, or they could add shadow. Brighten or shadow. Brighten or shadow. And believe it or not, I like the shadow. It's doing something. It's doing something that I didn't expect. Right? What has it done? By darkening this red, I'm actually bringing more attention to these areas right here. I'm actually changing the focus. Right? So it's all light and fluffy, and then I actually kind of bring like a gritty, something a little more green into this color. Orange too. No, orange I'm going in the other direction, which is a smoother way to add contrast. My details are almost always the same thing. I like to use 80% more sharpening. My luminance, I like my luminance always 50% more. That has smoothed out a lot of the graininess that was in the shadows. Overall, if I reduce this back down to about 20 or so, then you can see that there's a major jump in the noise. So if I bring this back up to about 50, it smooths out the image considerably, right? Without losing a lot of the detail. But what I'm doing is slide the detail up, right? Just because I want to preserve that. I like the sharpness around the rim of the glasses. I like these pops and speckles of light. I still have little detail through the skin here, the nose, and I still have this noise in the shadow, but it's better than it was before. Look at the difference. Wow. Okay. And so also in the color noise, I bump the color noise up to 50. I just discovered this recently, but then what we see here in the shadows is that the noise, although it's still there and it's still tight and grainy, it's all monochromatic. It's all of the same color. Without that, we introduce these colorful speckles. I don't know if you can see this, if you guys can see it. And so I'm using the color slot, right? And then once I do this at 50, I bring the detail down a little bit because I'm still trying to get rid of all of that noise and bring this up because I don't want to have to deal with that noise. Boom. Alright, so in the detail slider, we've really gone ahead and we've made some tremendous changes to what we have. So some of this blur is because we shot this at 2.8, I believe. We shot this at 2.8, right? So we have tight focus in this area and everything else blurred. De-haze was added, so that added a little bit more softness. But then when we came in with the sharpening, we added 80% more sharpening and 50% on the luminance. We bumped the detail up. The contrast is still at 0 when it comes to noise reduction. The details have been reduced here in color reduction. And the last but not least, we're going to go to lens correction. All right, so you guys might not be able to see this, but there's this area around here that's actually chromatic aberration. I don't know if this will get rid of it. It didn't, but it did something. We can actually see that there was a color shift, yeah. And then we're going to enable lens profile, and that was the young, new, old 50mm 1.8. Boom, the Canon version. So we'll take this off. We'll add it. Take this off. We'll add it. Okay. And basically, it removes the distortion that's created by that lens and the camera body together. And this is where we go. I don't know if this is exactly what we had before, but it looks pretty good. Now, the only thing I might want to do is I might want to go into the tone curve. The tone curve gives us the ability to kind of adjust certain things. Like we bump the light that we did. Drop the light back down, and we're doing this in the tone, in the tonal curve. So medium contrast, boom, add some medium contrast. Now, on top of the basic sliders for lights, for blacks, whites, shadows, contrast, the tonal curve has highlights, lights, darks, and shadows as well. What can we do with that? Well, this is a second round of darks, this is a second round of lights, this is a second round of shadows, and a second round of highlights on top of the one that we've done already. Which is the thing that I really enjoy about Lightroom, because it gives you this sort of redundancy to say, oh yeah, you stretch this image so this far, you can stretch it further, right? You can go further with it, and you just have to be careful that you don't overdo it or over process the image, because at that point it probably won't even be usable during that point. So we can still start playing with the lights, right? And so it seems like we just increase the intensity of that light that was over here, or we just decrease the intensity of it, right? So she's kind of more in shadow, and I like this because the gradients and the smoothness of these shadows that's coming over her forehead, down her nose, and through this area, they're just kind of booming and soft, right? It's more artistic than it is like portraiture, right? And so it gives you the opportunity just to kind of deal with this silky satin headband, kind of deal with her closed eyes, deal with this fogginess in her lens. There's just different elements. And then the dark, right? We're sliding up, we're sliding back, we're sliding up, we're sliding back. And I think I kind of liked it where it was, because what I really would like to see is, I would like to see this smoothness, but then I like this glow, right? I want to still be able to be pulled directly. See, because if I lighten it up, then the light spread is just like, look at everything. But for this entire image, these lines going down vertically, I want all the attention to be drawn directly into this area, So the only other thing that we probably should have done is maybe some Visine or Clear Eyes, sorry for the name dropping, but some sort of eye drops or something. Just put some moisture in her eyes to emulate or simulate tears or something like that. So to really just give you information to deal with in this area, more information than what we have here. All right, and then shadows. Same thing with shadows. I can move the shadow slider up, which brings you down more into this area. You can see more detail in that area. And I think softening that up, I think that actually kind of helps. Except now you notice that there's no information in it. There are no details in that area. That's important. And then bringing it down really centers it back. Centers it back in the face. That's what I'm doing right there. I'm not gonna deal with anything else. And then that's the image. So now let's go back to where we began and see if we got anything close to what we were shooting for. So this is the image that we just worked on, and then this is the image that we just worked on, and this is one of the images I worked on previously. And let's kind of see what differences. What's the difference? We can take a look, and we have orange, more orange in this photo. They're pretty close, but there's this area right here that's illuminated, but it seems to me more distracted. It's more distracting than it's helping me. I don't know. I guess that would be for you guys to decide. But for me, looking at it from a distance, I'm just saying, look from a distance. This bright area right here does bring the attention back. And again, I edited both of these images, and this is actually a part of my process, and I've done this several times with several images, that I will rework them in order to kind of get a better vibe as to what it was that I did. Here in this lip area, right? I feel like now see, what I could probably do is go back and work with these elements. I feel like this underlighting is better. I feel like this tone is better. I feel like the color is better. It's just more lively in a way. But overall, man, let me take a look at it. This is crazy. Okay, I mean, this is first. This is the next. I don't know. This one with more orange in it is it's more lively. There's a certain energy to it. I have to admit, there is a certain energy to it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start working. I'm gonna work on this image. This is the image that I just did, but I'm gonna go back to this image, and then I'm gonna start processing this image. And I'm glad you guys kind of went through this with me, because I just want to tighten up some of the things. Now, what I didn't do is I didn't use the curve, right? We didn't go into all of this. So shadows is still where it is. Darks is still where they are. The lights still where they are. Highlights, not much different. Okay, move that along. Lens correction is already set. Details. Let's go to the details. I think this is what the difference is in the details. Color is at 50. Boost the detail here. About 50. About 60. And I don't know. That's it. I mean, I don't see. And then the amount of sharpen I have here is 90. Let's go bring this back down to 80. And that's it. So that's that. That's it for the Lightroom. And the only other thing that I would do, man, I think I do like this one better. Because look, I mean, something about the hair. It's just something about this hair where this braid of hair is prominent. And it falls, and then down in this area, it just falls out of focus. But here, this braid of hair is less prominent. It has less of that look that I like, which is that has depth to it. This image still has depth. So let's see if I can correct this. Man, I'm dragging you guys through it together. All right, saturation slide. Saturation. Let's bring some of it more back. Maybe some yellow. It doesn't bring the image up to this point. But every time I see that purple in the shadows, I start getting this. Just a little purple in the shadows. Yeah, that's it. All right, well that's it, guys. This is the final image, and then there's some other things that I want to clean up, and I definitely will in Photoshop. And I just probably wanted to just come back and go over her skins a little bit, go over her hair a little bit, go over these speckles here, and maybe even just smooth out the background a little bit and clean up this area. But aside from that, and then kind of just boost some of the details and contrast through this central area to really kind of clean up and kind of sell the intensity of this image. Wow. All right. Hey, thanks guys. Appreciate it. I'm out.